When I first came into recovery, one of the important things for me was a sense of community and belonging. I'd felt so alone using drugs and alcohol. I was disconnected from my family, although I lived with them. I had lots of friends, although I wasn't going out with them. I was working, although I wasn't connected to my workplace. And when I walked in the rooms of recovery, I came to 12-step meetings, and when I walked in, I felt immediately I belonged. People were speaking my language. I could understand what they were saying. They understood what I was saying. And there were no judgments. No one was judging anyone else. Hi, I'm Jay Pasternack, and I'm the director of the Recovery Place. So one of the reasons why I started the Recovery Place was I found that there was a gap in the continuum of care. I'm a counselor, been a counselor for about 30 years. I was dealing with clients in my private practice that were getting on wait lists for public housing, sober housing. And what we found was that the wait lists were so long that they didn't have a chance to practice the skills that they had developed in their primary care facilities. So we decided to open up a house. That was about 14 years ago, and since then we've got 3 houses. So one of the things that we try to do here is look at short, medium, and long-term goals. And we ask clients before they come in their intake to identify their goals. And that's because we're so used to instant gratification that we lost our dreams. We lost, for pot smokers, they stop dreaming. They lose some of their REM sleep, they stop dreaming. Their goal is, where am I going to get my next bag of weed or alcohol or other drugs? Where's my next? So we're really used to instant gratification, and we're used to getting what we want immediately. So we try and practice some deferred gratification here, that we work towards our goals. We put in our value system, whatever's important to us, and we strive to, like I said, do our best. In that way, we have a future. We start seeing that, we're not in an unbreakable chain of bad events anymore. We're starting to develop a foundation for our recovery here. And once we have the floor, we develop our walls, we develop windows, we get a chance to look out there, see the kind of friendships that we want. We can open a door to people, we can close a door, we have boundaries. We just don't take what other people are willing to give us anymore. We're people of integrity. And that's what we try to instill. We take young men and turn them into mature men. And we do that through a step process, a 3-phase process. So at the Recovery Place, we have stage 1, 2, and 3 housing. Stage 1 is a primary facility, 8-bed facility with 24-hour staffing. We run 2 meetings a day here, so it's a step down from treatment that's all involved. I call it a 3/4 way house. So there's a quarter of the time clients are out working, going to school, and they've got support 3/4 of the time here. We provide groups, we provide food, we provide counseling. We try to get clients back into a healthier lifestyle. We have a small gym, and downstairs we have a workout area in the backyard. So we try to instill a sense of accomplishment, completion. We try to have people look at the areas of their life they want to work on: proper nutrition, exercise, scheduling, things like that. Go back and see a doctor. Somebody hasn't seen a doctor in a while. We have clients coming to us that haven't seen dentists in quite a long time. So we try and get their hygiene, try and get their lifestyle up to speed for their age. So we have the phase 1 house for clients that move on from here, and they don't want to move home. They want to stay in the recovery community. After 90 days of abstinence from their drugs and alcohol, they can move into one of the step-down houses. There's 3 criteria for moving over there. One is a strong support system, one is 90 days of clean time or sobriety, and one is 24 hours worth of work or school or volunteer work. And why we do that is because we want clients to be more self-reliant. So one house, we have a counselor there who's there evenings and weekends because most of the people are at work during the day, and so is he at another position. And but he's there. We have a counselor there to talk to people. That's his job. Check in on them, see how things are going. And they know that they're still connected through the recovery community, not only through clients, but through a professional level of care that we're providing. That house also has curfews, but clients don't call and ask permission to go out after curfew. They just tell us they're going. So again, it gives them that sense of independence. They hold on to their medication as opposed to the primary house where we hold on to medication. We have another house, step down house, I call it, and that one has a staff member who lives there, but he manages the overall house. So just chores, cleanliness, if things are needed. So there's more freedom there. You can have your relationship stay overnight there. You can have your kids stay overnight there. You don't tell us, that you're going to stay out overnight. You just go. So it's another level of independence. And people have moved from the main house to the second house to the third house. So one of the things at the recovery place that we do is we try to instill a sense of dignity, integrity, and value in our clients. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of what you're doing today. Try your best. No one's asking you to be perfect. It's a journey, not a destination. And that's one of the reasons why I opened it up, was to give clients, residents, an opportunity to succeed. And with the areas that they're not doing well in, let's identify those areas and fill those gaps. And we do that. We have our model is a peer helping peer model and a life skills model. We also use an eclectic mix of different therapies and approaches depending on the client, but basically it's a peer helping peer and a life skills model. And what I found was you can take that model anywhere. It's not just something that you've learned at the recovery house and it stays at the recovery house. You learn your proper hygiene, proper nutrition, waking up with meaning and purpose, being a part of a community, helping other people. We learn some of these things and we take it with us. And like I said, everybody has an area to grow in. We learn certain tools in treatment, but really we don't know if we can swim until we get in the water. That's what we do here. This is the water. This is where we practice the relapse prevention skills in real time. This is where we have an opportunity to go out there with old friends and family and see what our triggers are. And it may not be a trigger around using drugs and alcohol. It may be other dysfunctional methods of coping. It may be overeating. It may be gambling. It may be compulsive sexual activity. But we're able to at least identify those areas and get people the right kind of help. When I first came in, I worked in a place called the Donwood Institute, and that gave me an opportunity to work with youth as a manager, and later on worked at KMH with the youth outreach program. And I was able to identify some gaps in growing up for people. And it's not uncommon knowledge that during adolescence, it's a difficult time. And if people are using drugs and alcohol during that time, they're not going to be able to develop the skills to go on to their teenage years. So there's going to be some developmental delays there. And people start to rely on drugs and alcohol more and more as their coping mechanisms. So without those coping mechanisms, when they get into treatment centers, they might act out sideways. Instead of drugs and alcohol, they'll act out in anger. They'll act out in isolation. They'll act out in joking around. And they're all methods to protect our ego. They're all ways that we have developed, these skills in order to move forward in life. Unfortunately, for many, they don't work. These unhealthy skills are ones that we can identify in the recovery place. Although they may have been identified in the treatment center, this is where we can learn to practice the new and healthier skills. That's why I've been a big fan of recovery houses for a number of years. I unfortunately myself went on a government recovery house with 6 guys in a room, and I had to withstand what all these other guys were doing. And it was difficult. It was really, really difficult. And when I started the recovery place, I said, I want to make it a place that I want to go to. I want people to be there that I would live with. I'm not going to put people into the recovery house that I wouldn't live with. And that's important, that people get along. so they can form that sense of community and connectedness. Okay, so I want to leave you with a quick story that was helpful for me, and it really encapsulates what recovery houses are, and especially our house, the recovery place. So it seems a father comes home from work during the afternoon, he had a few hours off early, and one of his kids comes up to him and says, "Daddy, take me for ice cream." And father's resting on the couch reading the newspaper, figured he's got a few hours to kill, and he says, no, I'm too tired, come back later. 5 minutes later, child comes back, says, "Daddy, take me for ice cream." He said, "No, listen, I told you come back in a few hours, right? And I just want to relax and read the newspaper." Child goes away, comes back 5 minutes later, Daddy, take me for ice cream." Dad's getting a little bit frustrated now, and he looks in the newspaper and he sees a map of the world. And he thinks, oh, good one. And he starts to tear up the map of the world, knowing that the child's about 4 years old and has never seen a map of the world probably before. Puts the map of the world on the kitchen table and said, "Listen, put this map of the world back together and I'll take you for ice cream." Figures he's got a few hours to go, goes back, lies down, starts reading the newspaper again. 5 minutes later, child comes back, Daddy, take me for ice cream." Now he's very frustrated and he says, "I told you, put the map of the world back together and I'll take you for ice cream." Lo and behold, child says, "I did." Gets up, looks at the kitchen table, and my goodness, map of the world's back together. Said to the child, "How on earth could you possibly put this map of the world back together?" And the child had said, "Dad, it was really easy. On the back of the map of the world was a picture of a man, and all I had to do was put the man back into place, and the world fell into place." And that's really what we do here. We take individuals, we put them back together to have healthier and happier lifestyles. And I always get choked up when I tell that story. But that's my story, and that's hundreds and thousands of other people's stories. So if you want to give us a call, book a tour with us, or just to chat, please come down. You'll meet some of the other clients, and they can tell you their firsthand experiences as well. Have a great day, everyone.